Hello and welcome back to English Hub. And here we are with the detailed summary of the story Bholi by K.A. Abbas from Footprint Without Feet, NCERT Class 10th English book. The story Bholi is a touching tale about a young girl who overcomes fear, neglect, and social injustice through the power of education and self respect. It shows how learning can transform a timid, voiceless girl into a confident and courageous woman who stands up for her dignity. Bholi, whose real name is Sulekha, was the fourth daughter of Ramlal, a prosperous but uneducated farmer. Unlike her siblings, Bholi was considered unlucky because she was not as beautiful or clever as them. When she was just 10 months old, she fell from her cot and injured her head. The injury affected her brain, making her slow in learning. Later, she suffered from smallpox, which left her face full of permanent pockmarks. Because of this, everyone called her Bholi, meaning simpleton or a fool. Bholi grew up in a home where no one cared for her. Her brothers and sisters were healthy and educated, but she was ignored. She often wore old clothes and received no attention or affection. Her speech problem made things worse. She stammered badly when she spoke, and the children in the village laughed at her, which made her even more nervous and shy. Then one day, a primary school for girls was opened in the village. The Tehsildar came to inaugurate it and persuaded Ramlal to send one of his daughter to school as an example for others. Ramlal reluctantly decided to send Bholi, thinking she was useless anyway and no one would marry her. At first, Bholi was terrified. She had never been treated kindly before, but her teacher spoke to her softly and kindly, calling her by her real name, Sulekha. For the first time, she felt respected and loved. The teacher encouraged her, saying, "Not to be afraid, come to school every day." That marked the beginning of Bholi's transformation. Under the guidance of her loving teacher, Bholi began to gain confidence. Slowly, she learned to read and write. The teacher's affection helped her believe in herself. Years passed, and Bholi grew into an educated, self-confident young woman, very different from the stammering, fearful child she once was. When Bholi became a marriageable age, her parents received a proposal from Bhishambarnath, a middle-aged, wealthy grocer from another village. He was much older than Bholi, almost 50, with grey hairs and a limp. But since he was rich, Ramlal and his wife agreed, hoping to get rid of Bholi's burden. Bholi remained silent, respecting her parents' decision. On the wedding day, Bisambar arrived with pomps and show. But when he saw Bholi's pock-marked face, he demanded a dowry of 5,000 rupees as a condition to marry her. Ramlal was shocked and pleaded with him, but he was stubborn. Out of humiliation, Ramlal gave him the money. As the garland ceremony was about to begin, Bholi suddenly threw the garland away and spoke fearlessly before everyone. She declared that she would never marry such a greedy, mean man. She said she would serve her parents instead and teach in the same school that had changed her life. Everyone was amazed at her courage. In that powerful moment, Bholi, once mocked and ignored, proved that she was no longer a fool. She had become educated, brave, and independent, capable of making her own choices. Her teacher's faith and education had transformed her into a symbol of female empowerment and self respect. There are many characters in the story, but the main is Bholi, the main character, the protagonist of the story. Bholi, originally named Sulekha, is the youngest daughter of Ramlal, a village officer. As a child, she was considered simple and foolish due to her low learning and speech defect. Her face was scarred with smallpox, and she was constantly mocked and neglected by her family. However, Bholi's life changes when she begins attending the village school. Her kind and compassionate teacher helps her overcome her fears and discover her self worth. Through education, she transforms into a confident, intelligent, and courageous young woman who can speak up against injustice. Her bold decision to refuse marriage to a greedy man highlights her moral strength and dignity. Bholi represents the power of education, self respect, and women empowerment. In short, we can say that Bholi evolves from a timid, stammering girl into a fearless, independent woman, a symbol of courage and transformation. Next important character is Ramlal, Bholi's father. Ramlal is a village officer, respected in society, but traditional and narrow minded in his thinking. He believes that girls are burden and focuses only on the well-being of his son. Though he agrees to send Bholi to school, he is not out of affection but because the Tehsildar insisted. Later, he tries to marry her off to an old and greedy man, thinking it's the best he can do for her. Ramlal's character reflects the patriarchal mindset of rural Indian, where daughters are seen as responsibility to be married off quickly, yet his tears at the end of the story shows a hint of realization and shame for his early ignorance. In short, we can say that Ramlal symbolizes the average Indian father of the time, loving but bounded by social customs and outdated beliefs. Another important character is Bholi's mother, who is a harsh, unsympathetic woman who treats her daughter as a burden. She believes that Bholi, being ugly, slow, and never be married, she gives her little affection or care, and even her main concern is social reputation, not her child's happiness. Her character reflects the cruel reality of gender discrimination in society, where girls were valued only for beauty and marriage prospects. In short, we can say that Bholi's mother represents societal cruelty and lack of compassion towards weak or imperfect children. Next important and very important character is Bholi's teacher, a symbol of kindness, hope, and education. Bholi's teacher is the guiding light of the story. She is gentle, understanding, and treats Bholi with love and respect. something Bholi had never experienced before. Her soft spoken encouragement helped Bholi overcome her fear for speaking and gain confidence. She became the voice of enlightenment, representing the transformative power of education. The teacher not only teaches Bholi to read and write but also helps her discover her identity and dignity. In short, Bholi teacher is the true heroine of the story, the one who changes Bholi's life forever through education and empathy. Another character is Visambarnath, the greedy groom. He is a middle aged grocer, almost 50, with a limp and grey hair. He agrees to marry Bholi only because she is from a wealthy family. However, when he sees her pocked face, he demanded 5,000 rupees as dowry. His greed and hypocrisy reveals his selfish and corrupt nature. He represents dowry seeker and moral decay in the society. Bholi rejection of him becomes a moment of victory not only for herself but for women's dignity as a whole. In short, he is a greedy, shallow man who serves as the story's moral contrast to Bholi's courage and honesty. From the story, we get that education has the power to transform lives and bring self confidence. A person's worth should never be judged by appearance or wealth. The story promotes woman empowerment and self respect. Bholi is not just a story of one girl, it's the story of every girl who finds her voice through education. From a timid, stammering child to a courageous, self respecting woman, Bholi shows us the true beauty lies in strength, dignity, and education. Thank you for watching the video. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.